that's where we could see winds perhaps gust as high as 60 miles an hour or so. And this is a very fast moving line. It's moving east at about 40 miles an hour. So this goes out about a half hour at the end of this. So this will be on the other side of Tampa Bay easily in a half hour, where we are seeing perhaps some rotation. Again, this is right in Pinellas Park. That's US 19 and Park Boulevard. But actually now, Mike, I want to get your opinion on this. Looking south towards downtown St. Pete, see a little bit of rotation there. That might be something that we have to look out for, Mike. Looks like we are finally starting to see that wrap up a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, that's actually the strongest we've seen there, Kyle.
Here, there actually is a tornado warning that has been issued for that part of the line moving through downtown St. Petersburg or approaching downtown St. Pete. That'll go till 4:45. Again, we just picked up on a little bit of rotation there. In fact, I'll zoom in back a little bit closer to right in that area, downtown St. Pete, where our camera was. It's really
right on top of it.
Right on top of it at this point. So again, this is the south side of downtown where we have that rotation now moving pretty much east out into the bay. So we'll take another look outside with our St. Pete camera. Again, you can see here no tornado in the area, but certainly it's very, very gusty outside, very, very rainy. You have to look south. Okay, so now there's Albert Wooded Airport. Yeah, you can see those darker clouds over there. Yeah, typically with this type of setup too, if we were to see a tornado on the ground, it likely would be rain wrapped at this point. But what may worry me a little bit is now that this is moving over the bay, there's a little bit less friction. So we could see that rotation maybe tighten up again a little bit. So I will go ahead and throw a track on this. It's now, the worst of it's now leaving downtown St. Pete. So I would say if you are west of downtown St. Pete, you are pretty much in the clear at this point. And we'll have to watch this for places like, Apollo Beach, Gibsonton, and you can see that little bow right there. As Mike just mentioned, the rotation may not be as strong now, but there is still indications that this could have some very, very strong wind gusts. So even if there isn't a tornado on the ground with this, if you're in the Riverview and Brandon areas, you all likely need to just still stay sheltered and stay inside and get away from windows, because you could still get some, certainly some flying debris and perhaps even some wind damage as that strong part of the line moves through. I'll give you an updated timeline to this as well. You can see here again, pretty much right to the west of I-75 at this point, moving towards the east at around 40-45 miles an hour. So this will be in the Fishhawk area, right around 15 minutes or so. Time now is 4:19. I'm meteorologist Kyle Hanson here with your weather on the 9s. Tracking the latest on Tropical Storm Debby. Winds still sustained at 65 miles an hour. And it is currently just a little bit over 70 miles west-southwest of our westernmost point here in Pinellas County, which is right around Indian Rocks Beach. So there's the eye right there where it's trying to form an eye. Not exactly a well-defined eye by any means, but it is the center of the storm. And it's pretty much at this point just moving mostly north. In fact, maybe starting to turn a little bit more east of north now. So making a little bit more of a turn towards the coastline. Still expecting that center to pass. Of course, it already is passing west of our area, but still north west of Citrus County, maybe making landfall somewhere between Cedar Key and up towards Taylor County as we head into tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, our main impact right now, it's the rain. It's been coming down heavy at times, particularly around Pinellas County. That's where we have one of our heavier bands of rain, a thinner band of rain up here towards Hernando County and into parts of Polk County as well. But I do want to zoom in a little bit closer to Pinellas County and into Tampa Bay. That's where we have some of that heavier rain coming in. City of Tampa is still not as heavy as it was, say, a couple hours ago, but we are starting to see that heavier rain start to track back in. But again, around St. Pete, Largo, Indian Rocks Beach, Madeira Beach, Tierra Verde, you can see there definitely some heavier rain moving in, and same thing down in Bradenton as well. In fact, maybe starting to lighten up a little bit in the Bradenton area right now. Do want to take you outside, though. Live look outside our studio here. We're in Pinellas County, northern Pinellas County. Our Lazy Boy Furniture Gallery's camera, you can see those trees blowing there in the distance. We get some heavy rain, some gusty winds currently as this band moves through Pinellas County. In the meantime, our whole area, of course, or most of our area, I should say, continues to be under a tropical storm warning. This is all of our coastal counties. This does not include, though, Polk County, as the winds diminish drastically as you move east of the center here. So I do expect those fastest winds generally between about now and this evening. You can see that here in our wind forecast, those tropical storm force winds continuing into 9 o'clock tonight. And after that, from south to north, late tonight, we start to see those winds gradually calm down. Still going to be windy into tomorrow morning, don't get me wrong, but by noontime tomorrow, most of the area will be out of the tropical storm force winds for us. Those faster winds, again, going up into the Big Bend tomorrow morning with landfall. Then Debby will pull away and likely start to stall out again around Georgia, perhaps even the Carolinas as well. So we could continue to see some of the bands of rain on the south side of Debby. So flooding will be probably one of the main concerns for our area. Our whole area is under a flood watch through tomorrow. Several inches of rain expected. Ground's already saturated in many spots, especially down towards western Manatee County, where we've seen already around, or if not more than 5 inches of rain. Storm surge will also be a threat as well around Tampa Bay and north up towards the Crystal River area, around 3 to 5 feet above that mean high water mark of water. So that would be late tonight into tomorrow when we start to see those winds go back on shore. But a little bit more than that as you head north, around 5 to 8 feet of surge possible around Crystal River north into Levy County expected. Now your 7-day forecast here, showers and storms still widespread tomorrow morning. Downpours with the bands of Debby coming on through. Winds gradually come down through the day. Still a bit breezy to windy on Tuesday. A little bit more sunshine, though, and a little bit less rain throughout the day. Off and on downpours. And then as we head toward Wednesday and Thursday, expect a little bit more sun with high temperatures back up in the low 90s and lows near 80. Now here's a look at Claystron 9.
Kyle, a much different day today now that Debby's made her way north.
Yeah, Debby's long gone for us here. It's kind of stalling out to the north. Still have an onshore breeze here. You can see a partly cloudy sky. Looking at Madeira Beach with our 1-800-ASK-GARY camera, that water level certainly down from yesterday, which is good news. You can see here a little bit of, you could say, smoke on the water. You have smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Does that remind you of a song? You can see here again, this is actually due to the cold air over that relatively warm water. What happens is it's almost the reverse actually of sea fog. What you have here is that air is so cold, you have that warm water kind of saturating that colder air, raising the dew point right near that pond, and that's how you get a little bit of that fog right on the water. Here, and eye actually looks like it's trying to get back together, maybe trying to organize a little bit better here, but it probably isn't going to be too successful at that with that shear coming in here from the west. You can still see the southwestern part of that eye is pretty much all wide open, and you can see there's pretty much no rain on the southwest side. So once this makes landfall tonight, at that landfall point and it moves off towards the east, you might see a little bit of rain beyond that, but generally it's not going to be too much, especially towards the south. Once this makes landfall, places like Sarasota and farther south of there, you're not really going to see any more rain, but the wind will probably continue as well.
Kyle, wanted to jump in here and just let you see that picture. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is certainly, Mike, and that was the same cell that's now up in Polk County currently. I want to show you this. Look at Highlands County. Highlands County is pretty much just covered in tornado warnings at this point. A lot of them are, of course, from the same cell, and they have yet to expire, but this is just impressive. You can see there in Highlands County, a lot of the county pretty much just covered in a tornado warning. We didn't see that with Debby. We didn't see that with Helene. This system, Milton, certainly different when it comes to that tornado threat. Pretty much the entire county, all of Pinellas County, now under a flash flood warning. So when I get to that, too, you can see the heavy rain from southern Pinellas to central Pinellas here. Of course, we've had a very wet year. We had a very wet summer. The wettest rainy season actually on record for Tampa, believe it or not. It was the wettest June to September we have seen in Tampa since records began. You can see here, flash flood warning now in place for pretty much all of Pinellas County. So you don't have to be right near the water in Pinellas County to see some flooding. This is rain coming down on you. So this has nothing to do with your evacuation zone. This has to do with whether or not you're just relatively low lying. You could be at 30 feet above sea level, and everyone else around you is at 40 feet, and the land around you is at 40 feet, and that water is just going to come down into it. So that's something that kind of caught people off guard during Debby. Over in Lakewood Ranch, you're never going to see storm surge. But Lakewood Ranch saw a whole lot of flooding with Debby back in August because of the rain. You get 16 inches of rain, you're going to flood. So if you know anyone, or if you're listening to us on the radio, you're driving on I-4, this would be passing probably somewhere between Polk City and Champions Gate, right in that window there. So at this point, I would just maybe pull over and kind of wait this out before that point. If you're already driving in that area, you could probably beat it at this point, but if you're approaching that area, I'd just pull over just in case. As we see this area of rotation, which is now just to the southwest of Haines City, it's going to pass over I-4 between Polk City and Champions Gate within the next 10 to 15 minutes. You can see here, it looks like maybe that last frame, we're starting to get a little bit more of an eastern movement to the system. And notice how on the north side you have all of this rain. Notice how it's set down towards Sarasota. Bradenton, they're seeing maybe a little bit of a break. I don't think we get quite that break in St. Pete as we start to see more of that eastern movement with Milton. That's kind of been or that's expected to be the trend at least as we get towards landfall tonight. And now I got Chief Meteorologist Mike Clay with me now, and we've been tracking these tornado warnings. We've been obviously keeping a close eye on surge as well, and now we get a flash flood warning in Pinellas County. So impacts, Mike, really starting to increase with Milton as it's getting closer.
Yeah, it is getting closer. What a day. Lots of tornado warnings, Central Florida, and big hurricane that's being sheared apart right now coming ashore.
Yeah, central to South Florida, Mike, dozens of tornado warnings so far today, and it doesn't look like there is any sign of stopping anytime soon. Look at how far south these extend. Pretty much due west of Miami at this point, right in the middle of the Everglades. You can see here, it has a nice little tail to it, this outer band. And this extends up towards the central east coast of Florida. So we are going to see this threat continue to move up into Polk County and most likely into Orlando. This may kind of extend, I'd say, a little bit back up towards here eventually. So this is kind of where it's happening right now, where it's going to go. Maybe more up towards Leesburg or back off towards western parts of Polk County, maybe even into eastern Hillsborough. So really, the more inland you are, the greater your chances of seeing tornadoes. So our camera is right here. Camera's right in this area. And there's that tornado warning just off towards the east. And it looks like if we go back in time here, maybe 15 minutes, you can see the weakening, and then that last frame may be starting to strengthen once more. So that is something that we're going to keep a close eye on. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. This is pretty much right over Auburndale. So if we had a tornado on the ground, that we don't have confirmation of this, you can see there's the Polk Parkway right here. It's right here by the Polk Parkway. This is where it is. You see County Road 655. County Road 655 and the Polk Parkway. That's right here. This is moving generally to the northwest. This is where we have that rotation. So if we had a tornado on the ground, this is where it would be.